Yeah, hello, and thank you all for coming. We would like to start now, so please have a seat. And yeah, we're very happy to today speak about circularity in the fashion industry here at Rebeca at the Fashion Tech. My name is Frans Prins. I've been working for many years to bring sustainability on the fashion stage, organizing trade shows and conferences. And right now I'm not so much involved in fashion anymore, but I'm still very committed to the sustainability cause. Yeah, so I'm moderating more than speaking. We'll first have an introduction round of all of us, and then we'll have a discussion about circularity in the fashion industry, and also a space to ask questions or bring about your thoughts. Yeah. To start just with a very small introduction about what actually is this circularity thing. It's not about holding hands and singing songs in a circle. It's quite a broad vision for not only the fashion industry, but for thinking the way we make, we consume, we produce, we do things in our whole society, in our whole economy, like creating a shift from a linear approach. I want to do this, I buy this product, and when I'm ready with it, I throw it in the trash. This kind of linear mentality we have still nowadays towards a mentality where every product is already thought in a way that it's becoming the next thing, where you think like the whole picture and not just like, okay, we're gonna do this and we're ready. And then we throw it away, like fast consume, hyper consume, and then a dead end. And until now, a lot of sustainability approaches also had this kind of, okay, we're going to improve things. Oh, there's a new thing, let's do this way. But in the end, a lot of these solutions are like not thought until the end. Let's take an example, the recycling of plastics, of PET bottles into clothing, which on the one hand is a very nice idea. Okay, let's take one product, make another product of it, but then the result is also that we have a lot of microplastics in the environment, in our drinking water. Every time we put a garment made out of synthetic fibers into the washing machine, it loses thousands of microfibers directly into our drinking water. So we have to think about all these things and not just about, okay, let's improve a bit and let's sell it on the market. So yeah, that just to give you like a bit of a frame. So yeah, let's start with Mayya. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you have been working on and what is your approach towards circular fashion.
Okay, so my name is Mayya Saliba. I have a background in fashion design and in graphic design and communication, and I've been working with circular economy for a while now. I think I have been really interested in ethical questions since a very long time. I've been working with NGOs, giving workshops for children who have difficult backgrounds, like Palestinian camps and so on, in Beirut. Well, to continue with the sustainable focus that I had, I did a master's degree at SMOD Berlin in sustainability and fashion. And I just graduated a few months back, but I have been, so the last few projects that I did are completely circular focused. So I worked with different levels of circularity. And at the moment, I'm taking part with OSCE Days, which is an open platform for circular economy that is going to happen now in Berlin from the 9th until the 13th of June.
Okay, so these OSCE days, these open source economy days, they take place all around the world, I understood?
Yes, it's an international event, so it happens in various cities around the world, and this time it's Berlin time in June.
Okay, please speak a bit closer to, And you're working then in a group of people to find solutions in the fashion.
Well, OSCE Days is about circular economy in general. So there's going to be different fields, and it's going to be the whole circular economy in the different industries. But I am taking part, and I'm responsible for the textile part. And we're going to talk about it at 1 in this afternoon in the meetup about circular economy with Lars Zimmerman. So if you want to join, you're welcome to pass by and we can discuss this.
I have one more question. You worked on a so-called critical studies on capitalism and sustainability, and you said you wrote there about a paradox between fast fashion and sustainability, and you had an approach of a solution towards democratic sustainability. And can you tell us a bit more about that and the connection of that vision to circularity?
Yes, so the idea of my critical study, the main vision that I had is how to normalize sustainable values. So how to make sustainability the norm instead of a niche market. And I was thinking about who could be the right conductor, who could be the ambassador to spread sustainable values. And so I came to the conclusion that fast fashion and mass market are maybe one of the experts at engaging with a worldwide mass. You have products from fast fashion and mass market in every household all around the world. And so I chose them as a possible conductor, and I was thinking about how can I have a business argument for mass market and for fast fashion so that they could introduce circular economy as a business model, because at the end, if worldwide common laws are not implemented and if consumers' perspective is still really, I would say, a Western middle class focus now when it comes to sustainability, if you really want to spread it all around the world, I thought we could learn a lot from mass market. And this is when I thought that instead of having fashion for all, why not shift for sustainability for all? And this was the main reason why I chose these words. So it would be democratic sustainability, just as democratic fashion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you worked also on your own collection, a circular collection.
Yes, I did 2 projects that dealt with circularity. So I really experimented with different levels of circularity. So I went from organic products to recyclable, compostable, cradle to cradle. And I really worked on starting with the end of a product, which is quite weird when you come from a fashion background. Usually you start with creativity and design and how it's going to look on someone. And here I have to think of the death of my product before I even designed it. And this is where it was super interesting and super exciting at the same time, but very challenging. And as well, I think the whole circular system is so challenging because it really needs the right infrastructure. So it's really great to think of, hey, we're going to recycle or we're going to compost, but then if you don't have an infrastructure for it, a return system to get it back to the company, to compost it or to recycle it, then it also doesn't make much sense. So I think it was super interesting to experiment with it, but I think there's a lot to do yet. And personally, I've done a little step, but there's a lot coming.
Okay, thank you. Then, Rebeca, tell us a bit about what you have been working on. What is your background? What brought you here on this stage?
I'm not from fashion design industry. Actually, I'm an architect, a Brazilian architect. But I'm a maker too, so I am totally involved with the maker movement. And I work with a maker space in Rio. And we have a biohacking club there. So we are producing kombucha. And I don't know if you know about kombucha, but it's like a biofilm made by bacteria and yeast. And we are just trying to understand about this material and what we can do with it. So we are not experts in this subject, but we are just experimenting on it. But my background came from architecture, and I work with design too, and everything related with digital fabrication. And I'm a 3D printer teacher. I teach this to like kids, and I work with wearables and how to mix high tech with low tech. For example, doing some wearables with 3D printing and embroidery, or coding and processing with, I don't know, crochet. So mixing these two different levels of technology.
Mm-hmm. And you also worked with a bio lab?
Yes, in Olabi, the makerspace that I work, we have a biolab. I'm not a biologist. I'm not working in this area there, but I came here to represent this makerspace, and I'm starting to understand more about this material, and I've been like fascinated about it because it's has so much potential, and I started to send this to chemistry professors in the University of Argentina to see it in the microscope and understand a little bit more about the composition of it and how can we use it here, I don't know, for other industries or even in fashion.
Mm-hmm. Can you maybe show us and tell us a bit more about how it's created and what qualities it has?
Maybe we can pass, or they can.
Yeah,
they
sure.
Can. Do you want to? So, well, this is the kombucha. Actually, the kombucha is normally known as a tea. It's called the elixir of life. It's a very probiotic, and there are a lot of health benefits in this tea. And it's a tea made of water, green tea, sugar, maybe a little bit of vinegar. I understood that the recipe is really changing all the time. You can choose your own recipe. You can try a new one, and you can improve it and change it a little. And you need all these ingredients, and with Scooby, you need the Scooby that it's the symbiosis colony of yeast and bacteria. And you need this to start your kombucha tea and your fabric. And after you have the tea, you have to put there, I don't know, for 30 days. And the bacteria and the yeast, they're gonna eat the tea and the sugar, and they're gonna produce a kind of mushroom that's made by cellulose. And in the end, you can take this mushroom and put it in a piece of wood for a few days. And because it's made at 90% of water, the water gonna evaporate, and you're gonna have a thin, like a vegetable leather in the end. Mm-hmm. And actually, it's a really simple, very simple and easy process that you can do at your home. You can grow your own kombucha tea and kombucha fabric too.
Okay, and until now you experimented with that in the lab. Is there any like contact to the market already, like in producing things with a fashion brand or?
I think actually we used the protocol, the open protocol that Susan Lee, that's a British designer, she put it on the internet. She totally opened this recipe and her experience in this process. And we started with her process, with her recipe, but now we are trying new things. We are trying to do this with strawberry tea. It's like give us like a pink leather, more or less. But we are discovering that the process changed a little bit, and the material changed too. But I don't think now kombucha is totally in the market, or can be in the next 2 years everybody gonna wear kombucha clothes. I don't think that. I think the most important part of this is the process, because you change the word fabrication to cultivation. So if you can grow something at your home and then wear it, you can grow something else, and can grow something, a mushroom, and build your house, or you can, I don't know, grow another kind of textile and do some clothes. But kombucha is a really new material, kombucha fabric. So we need a lot of research on it, because it's not waterproof. If you are using it on the street and it starts to rain, you're gonna start to absorb the water, and you'll probably be naked, so it's not so good to use it now.
Yeah. Okay. And do you think this material could be a solution to close the loop, to make the fashion industry more more circular, more sustainable?
I think this process actually gives us a perspective that we can bring the user to the whole process. So he can be part of the circular process, and he can understand each step of this process. And when the user understands the whole process, the industry has to change, because he became a controller. He starts to control he can say, I don't agree with your process, and I don't want to use your clothes because you work this way, because I know how the process is. So I believe, for example, if everybody knows about how food industry is, I really believe 90% of the world would be vegetarian, because we just prefer to forget about the process and just see the final product. And when you put the user in the middle of in the process, and if the user is in the end the protagonist on this, you change the industry in a way, because the industry has to adapt to the user and to the values of the user. So in the end, you have a more fair, more democratic, more sustainable industry, because the process is really new for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I have one more question about, you also in your makerspace, you're also working with more technologies and more kind of wearables, and how do you see this working towards a more circular approach?
In our makerspace, it's like a big platform for everybody that likes the maker movement and wants to be part of it. So it's like a open place that you can have different courses and workshops and clubs. We have a biohacking club, we have the 3D printing club, and we have I created a course there that's called sewing, high-tech sewing, that mix the high technology with low technology. And for example, for this, we did a workshop yesterday, and we put it together, the kombucha fabric and some wearable components. We put it with lily pad, that's a kind of Arduino, pressure sensor, some LEDs, and a battery. And as we sew this with the conductive thread. And in the end, I think it's, when you are talking about wearables or another kind of technology, in this moment, you are just bringing people to this do-it-yourself movement. You are empowering them. If you have people that knows how can they do everything they need, they are much more conscious of everything, of what they need, of the waste that they produce, of the whole process, how it works. And in the end, wearables I love them because it's a way to I don't know, something that we just normally used to see like in television, and we don't know how television works, but we have one, and we don't know nothing what is inside there. And I think everything related with this kind of maker movement and wearables and this kind of technology brings up like how to understand how it works and make us really make us near to this kind of processes and industry. So in the end, we all became makers because we can do everything that not everything, but many things that you need when you learn how to 3D print something. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go and buy some vase because you need it. You can just print it at your home, or if you need to. You don't have, if your television is broken, you don't have to change it. You can just fix it. So you cut a little bit this process of using it, fast fashion and fast consuming, and you just try to understand more about what you are using and what you are buying and what you are consuming, and in the end, it's much more conscious and sustainable in a way.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Annette, please introduce yourself.
Is it working?
Yes.
It
should,
hello?
yeah, please speak close to the
So,
microphone.
I'm Annette. I'm also a fashion designer. I studied like a few years ago already fashion design. After that, I was working in the sportswear industry for different sportswear brands. Yeah, because I'm always interested in what can a garment do to the wearer, so what technology can be implemented in the fabric. So this was my field of interest, but then of course the topic sustainability came up, and yeah, I couldn't really implement that in the daily work at the companies. So I did another master's study in Basel, in Switzerland, interdisciplinary design. And yeah, in the master thesis, I gathered what materials are out there, what is going on, like also the kombucha material, for example. Or like the milk yarn and yeah, like ananas fiber, leather, all these kind of stuff. I was like collecting what's out there. And then I did also some tryouts with mycelium products, or try to grow material out of mycelium. And I have all this stuff right there if you want to have a look later on. So I can maybe explain about the mycelium, because I also tried the kombucha, but it's more or less the same. Yeah, we just found out that the color is a bit darker on yours, so yeah, it's interesting to see my samples as well. But I was not continuing really with that because, as you said, it's not waterproof. So, but it's, yeah, as you said, it's about the process and about the idea. How about growing your material for garments so that you can also grow exactly your pattern you want to have, so you don't have any waste anymore. And yes, it's not working at the moment, but just the idea and the process, it's really interesting. So to the mycelium product, yeah, it's just like a mushroom root, and I used, for example, straw and cork as a base material, and then yeah, you just need to wait like 2-3 weeks or something, and then the roots are growing and connecting. And I did a form with like a shoe sole, because the idea was maybe it's working for a shoe. So I also have the samples over there. It's very lightweight material, and as well not working for water, and very fragile at the moment. So there are lots of projects in direction of I think maybe skateboards or something they are working on as well, shoes, but mainly for styrofoam, like packaging material. For this it could really work, because you just can throw it on the bio waste, and it's degrading. Yeah.
And you have been working on collection with these. How do you see this when you think about the market? How can these kind of more experimental approaches have an outreach, have an impact?
It was quite hard for me as a designer, as Rebeca already said, that you somehow start maybe with the end and not with the creative part. And then you always have maybe in these biomaterials the so-called eco look, which you maybe don't want to achieve as a designer. So it's not that easy to find then as well the look that you want to achieve. But then it's a new material, so it's taking a long time. It's a long way to find the material, the properties of the material, and then you can maybe adapt to the look and do what you really want to do. Yeah. So it's I did like a gathering in my collection, and trying not to achieve the eco look, so-called. So I also work with polyester, because I'm from the sportswear industry. So this is also the idea of leaving maybe the advantages of some fabrics behind, and then maybe the look is also not what you want. So there's still a lot to do on the materials. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a few minutes left. Oh. I was surprised about how fast the time goes. So maybe to close the circle here, maybe you can all give in a few words your vision, how this circular idea can become the new normal.
I think it will. I think the main shifts that need to happen are first in the mindsets, and second, I would say to really start to work together, to stop thinking that the textile industry is by itself. I think it's all the industries that need to work together, that it's everyone that needs to shift from the idea of competition to the idea of collaboration. And I think this is what maybe could open doors for circular economy.
Yeah, I think maybe all the industry should start to change now, because it's totally the industry that work with the finite resources. They have to rethink their processes and how they understand the production and the materials that they use, because it will be impossible and unsustainable to keep in this way. So I would love to see and imagine a world that the users are part of the process, and we can normally and easily use biomaterials, so we can get the empowerment of the users and biomaterial, and use and get a more easily a cycle loop in the end.
Yeah, I think I wish also that the like bigger companies work more towards this direction, not only for the marketing reason, which is sometimes the case. I like, for example, the project of the Freitag bags, the clothing of them, because they really went into all the aspects, so local sourced materials, and then they have the new patent for the metal button. So and they really explained everything, and it's not just a sustainable product; it's really thought through, I would say. So I think it's a good example, but also the mass market is always a challenge, because, for example, the PET bottles, as you said, the rebound effect, that people maybe think, it's perfect, we can use fabric, so we don't need to think if we use it or not. We can drink a lot of water out of PET bottles, for example. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have time anymore for Q&As, but please, if you afterwards have any questions to any of us, come in front. Also, have a look around at the exhibition. Annette, you are exhibiting, and you as well? No. Oh, you are there at 1 at the OSC Days. That's also something, if you're interested more in this circular economy thing, both in fashion or in other industries, there's this thing at 1 o'clock. And also, if you don't make it, this is a global network of people, of makers, of designers, of people from all aspects working together to talk about challenges and create open source solutions or share information with each other. It's quite interesting. Have a look. It's happening in Berlin in June. So that's also a possibility to continue working towards this circular fashion industry. Yeah, thank you so much. And